This is one of many training videos we're releasing explaining the packages which are available as part of the Countrywide legacy software, which is being developed by Countrywide Tax and Trust Corporation Limited.
Right, welcome to the Countrywide training video on the Countrywide Life Assurance Trust. One very important consideration with the generic Life Office Trust was the Finance Act 2013. Now, a very simple scenario here: £400,000 home with a £200,000 mortgage and a life policy assigned into a generic Life Office Trust. IHT pre-July 2013, very straightforward here. The trustees will do what they always do and pay the mortgage off directly. That was what they were tasked to do. And pre-July 2013, the equity in the property is only 200, of course. The life policy is out of the estate for IHT, so no tax to pay. We all know that. That changed in July 2013. So same scenario now, but we're dealing with deaths. The death post 2013, policy in trust, 200 grand equity in the house again. Mrs. dies, policy pays out, trustees do what they do, either pay off direct to the mortgage lender or bank, or to a beneficiary who does so. But now, because that debt hasn't been repaid from the deceased estate, the executors of or personal representative of the deceased estate cannot claim it as a debt for IHT purposes. So you end up with a £30,000 IHT bill. The solution has got to be, of course, to draft a will and a trust for Mrs., but also to draft a Countrywide Life Assurance Trust and assign the policy in. Now, that trust is far more flexible than the Life Office Trust, and on death or prior to death, or even after death, it doesn't matter, the executors of the estate can be appointed as beneficiaries in their capacity as executors. That gives the trustees the ability to loan the proceeds to the executors, who then settle the debt. This example is on HMRC's website, and it's confirmed on there that then takes us back to the rules pre-2013, i.e. the debt is now deductible for IHT purposes. So just for the cost of the trust and a deed of assignment to assign the policy in, we save the clients £30,000 of inheritance tax here. This is a little known trap, and one that's cropping up more and more often for probate practitioners, so just be aware of it. It's very important. Okay, a big trap that a lot of advisors and clients certainly aren't aware of with life assurance trusts, again the generic Life Office Life Assurance Trust, relates to lifetime benefits such as terminal illness and critical illness. Typically, the problem is the policy is assigned in to the Life Office Trust, and there will be a clause, probably a stuck clause if you like, something that can't be changed, that will ensure that any lifetime benefits remain the property of the settler. So the settler of the trust, the previous policy owner, suffers a terminal illness which pays out. The clause in the trust means that that is a retained benefit of the settler. So the £300,000 pays out to the settler absolutely, out of the trust. And of course that £300,000 is now part of his estate. Indeed, if he's terminally ill, then the biggest problem is going to be inheritance tax. So a policy that was assigned to trust to maybe save inheritance tax, because of the wording in the trust, has triggered a £120,000 liability in that example. We really need to empower our clients to be making this choice as to whether they want to retain these benefits or not forcing it upon them by using a generic trust. Critical illness is a very similar sort of thing, although maybe a different conversation with the clients as to whether they would want to gift or retain that. But again, most Life Office trusts, in fact pretty much all, the critical illness will automatically be split out and be a retained benefit of the settler. So it pays out on the diagnosis of a critical illness, £300,000 back to the settler in his estate. Now maybe these other threats, these four here, divorce, remarriage, credit claims and long-term care, are more pertinent with critical illness because it's probably something that you may well recover from. And then of course you could survive, but the danger is on death. We've potentially got inheritance tax again. We really do need to give the clients the choice rather than, as I keep saying, giving them a trust that makes that choice for them. So how can we avoid this? The solution is a trust that empowers the clients, that being a Countrywide Life Assurance Trust, and they can choose, and they'll have the full knowledge, it's all in the trust, about how the terminal illness works, how the critical illness works, whether they want to gift or retain, and the advantages and disadvantages of working both ways, so they make their own decision. But if the settler decides to gift those benefits, i.e. he doesn't retain any of them, so a critical illness or terminal illness pays out, the lump sum pays to the trust, it's protected from his circumstances, and of course that includes inheritance tax. However, he isn't a beneficiary on the trust, although he would have settler powers, so he could change the trustees if necessary and potentially the beneficiaries, and also the trustees could still choose to loan the funds to him on a commercial basis as an investment. So he would still have access to the critical illness or terminal illness, but it would be outside of his estate, and most particularly on terminal illness for inheritance tax purposes. This is the section of the trust that's really, really important. As I say, it comes with all the explanatory notes in the trust as well, and the client is given the full information, and they are then able to decide which box they're going to initial. Are they going to retain both kick and tick, gift one of them, or give both of them? And they would then initial the box. I would suggest it would be the bottom box. That would be the best option for most clients, although at least we're then empowering them to make their own decision. Very, very important. That's a massive difference on our trust compared to the Life Office trusts. Further advantages of using our trust, of course, the ability to tailor the memorandum of wishes. And in there, often I'm a financial advisor, the problem can be if you've got 3 or 4 trustees on there, if that's what the client wants on the trust itself, you've got to go and get ID for anti-money laundering purposes for all of them, which can be a real pain in the bottom, particularly with elderly clients who may not have passports or driving licences. Our trust gives the ability to appoint, say, 1 or 2 trustees only, i.e. cutting down that admin, but then in the memorandum of wishes, putting a note that reserves are to be appointed at certain events in the future. And of course all these reserves are potential referrals to you as a consultant in any event. So it can cut down the admin, but you've still got the ability to meet all these other trustees if deemed necessary. In addition, there are 2 options with our life assurance trust, as you'll see from the life assurance software, in that the policy can be set up at inception in the trust, i.e. the trustees are the policy holders, or indeed it is a life policy already set up, then we can draft the trust in a slightly different way, whereby we can then assign the policy or policies in afterwards. So there are 2 options when we're drafting the trust in the software. It's important that you take note of both.